Are we back? Are we so back, Chris? What's good, bro?
What is good? Looking tan out there. Believe you're coming from Mexico. Are we back? Is it over? Are we back? Are we somewhere in between? I don't think anyone at this point has a single clue, but we never left. We're still here. We have Emblem coming down in 7 days, baby. This is probably one of the most exciting times, not only for just like us and our community, but the company in general. So market might be a little slow, but everything under Emblem is cranking. What's good?
Is that an Emblem wrap on your microphone? How long has that
Oh
been
yeah,
there
bro.
for?
You haven't seen that before? Yeah, it's been there for.
No. Has it been there the whole time? I literally
Yeah,
never noticed that.
yeah, 100%, bro. 100%.
Damn. Wow, I can't believe I missed that. Yeah, we're down in PV. I'm heading back to Vegas tomorrow. Just a nice little vacation. Reminds me a lot of Vegas down here. Adam's also traveling back home today, so we'll have the squad fully back on Thursday with spaces. The market is a little rough, although I saw about 20 minutes ago the Iranian president says that he wants to make a deal and end the war. So everything is shooting up. I think right after that insane bomb that went off yesterday. I don't know if you saw that video.
Yeah.
It's like insane, dude, just blowing up stuff. I hope once this excursion or operation, as Trump would say, can't technically say war, that everyone maybe has some confidence to start trading. If there's one thing that I've learned over the last few days is that meme coins are definitely officially dead. They tried to do this meme scope Monday thing yesterday, and that just completely failed. Did you follow that at all?
I didn't really follow it, but saw a couple things about it, but it was all the wrong people. And I think it actually is kind of like a bullish sign that the current market participants are just not dealing with that. They're not interested in that kind of exposure. They're not interested in dealing with those kind of players. It seems like actually like a sign that the market's maturing. Everyone knows that those are just going to be huge bundles that are going to be dumped on literally everybody that's involved. And it seemed like everyone kind of just took a pass. So I think it's actually a good sign.
Means agents are the new meme coins, which was before the NFTs, which was before ICOs, right? It does feel like that. I only think that really accelerates. It's really hard to deny that AI and agents are not going to be literally the thing that just funds everything over the next few years with all speculation. I mean, you can do meme coin agents and stuff like that, but it does feel like we're maturing. I saw Meteora came out with their Bedrock ownership token or ownership coin kind of mission, putting a lot of work in with bags. So it does seem like in a maturing market, we're going to see more actual businesses, equity stakes, revenue generation. It does feel like buybacks are kind of dead to a degree. I've seen some things on the timelines, people saying that buybacks are not useful, which maybe we're going to move more into a different form of tokenization or tokenomics, I should say, here over the next few years. But to me, it still just feels like a typical bull market. I know I've seen stuff on the timeline of people saying crypto's never coming back, but I don't know. This feels pretty normal than what we've typically seen over the last 10 years.
Yeah, it seems like business as usual. If you're not building in AI, I'm not really sure what you're doing. AI is going to touch every kind of corner of the market. It was kind of like before, it was tokenize everything. Now it's like AI everything. Every single industry, every single part of every industry is going to be impacted by it. So just like, in the early .com days when just random businesses, dogs.com or whatever, were just adding .com under their website URL or changing their branding to .com. I think we're going to see the same with AI. But this time, you're actually able to participate in the AI market because it's accessible to everyone. As far as like just the broader market and meme coins and everything like that, I think that, I think this whole operation, as you kind of said, was extremely global in terms of us from the United States. It just takes away from what we're doing here domestically. And I think it's really time for leadership in the country to look inward and kind of say that, the American people kind of need to be prioritized, because I think the consumer is pretty destroyed. And I think until that kind of picks up a little bit, the market's kind of going to be a little bit of a daze as long as in terms of like where retail is. But I think that, the bigger players, this is like their glory days. This is where they get their positions for the next year or 2 years. And, retail will probably have to buy 25% higher.
typically is always the case, always buying higher once it gets to that rounded $100,000 kind of number. Um, yeah, it's, for us, right, we're continuing to build. We have a few migrations that are currently still underway. Brainlet, I think, is about to around 10%. A little bit slow on the migration side of stuff, but Homebrew, I think, is around 30. Both of those end in about 10 days. We have MCV that also is migrating. That one's an interesting one. It's a meme coin migrating from Meteora to Pump, but it is a shortened one where it's only 3 days, but we made them use a 0% penalty. So I think that's something that we're going to install into the platform moving forward, is that if you choose no penalty, then you can do these kind of shortened migrations, but any type of penalty, it's going to be at least a 7-day kind of minimum. Also, EVM migrations are almost here and almost done, right? So we're going to have Bobo migrating, and from what I hear, a handful of other projects that are watching the Bobo migration from Sol and ETH to kind of decide on if that's what they want to do. We've been making way with the Emblem migration. I think I've now talked to almost every single exchange possible to see kind of what the listing requirements are. Is there strategy opportunities there? Some exchanges, it doesn't matter how long you've worked with them, they don't really care, right? You have to pay to play. That's like 90% of them. There are a few that, through our experience, may be willing to play ball a little bit and work a little bit closer together. So we'll see how those kind of form. But with the exchange, it's so annoying because it's still this monkey see, monkey do. Like with all these like lower exchanges, I wouldn't say lower, but I guess you'd say that the smaller exchanges, the first thing they always ask is, do you have a tier 1 listing, or do you have a tier 1 listing that is in the works? Which is kind of weird because they say that they lower their listing price if you have a tier 1 listing, but you think it would be the opposite, right? You think it's like, if you don't have a listing anywhere, they would want to put you there so that people start trading, and they make trading fees. So sometimes I feel like it's a little backwards, but we're going to continue pushing through for the Emblem migration. Start 7 days from today, and so 2 weeks from now we'll be in a full-on Emblem world with a lot of cool products. 2 specific products that we'll be releasing over, I guess you'd say, the coming month after the migration, and we'll kind of see, where it goes from there. But I'm pretty excited for it, and to officially be essentially like an AI company is really kind of what we're pivoting towards, which no doubt is where every company needs to be.
Yeah, definitely more focused on AI, but just because AI is so full encompassing of everything that will ever kind of exist, maybe the last bubble, we'll see. But still a crypto native company, right? Like everything that we do is based on, having a non-custodial Emblem vault at the core of it, and you can't do that without crypto and everything like that. So still, fully focused on our core ideals, but this is the best time to be in Emblem. We've been kind of wishing we had an Emblem token for years.
For a decade,
almost a decade. It's finally almost here. We're 2 weeks away. This is something that we've been waiting for internally for so long. This is kind of like the final migration, and we couldn't be more excited about it. In terms of like buybacks and things of that nature, we buy our token back because we want to align ourselves with our community, and we believe in the token because that's what we're here for. That's literally the innovation of the industry, is having the token, being able to allow kind of more of a crowd-funded approach to an early stage startup and give everyone the same upside that you wouldn't be able to get in kind of traditional markets. And so, we're here for the long term. We're excited for everyone that takes the journey with us. And, we want to get as much exposure to Emblem as we possibly can. So that's our kind of strategy on buybacks. We don't do buybacks just to do buybacks. We do buybacks because we want as much exposure to the Emblem token as we can possibly get.
Yeah, I've reached out to all of our whales to migrate. So, you should, in theory, have like over 50% migrated the first day. Obviously, you're still dealing with humans, so nothing is ever a guarantee. But should have a good percentage across the board, right? And we'll see how much comes back and how much, a lot of that will go towards initiatives, whatever the remaining is. Initiatives, listings, treasury, funding operations, reward systems. Chris has put a lot of effort into the new Emblem terminal in terms of incentives, I guess I should say, and keeping people coming back with his, what are you on, a 20-day streak now?
21, baby, longest in the game, 21. So streaks have been live for 21 days. Obviously, I'm 21. And, just like a lot of cool features, but it's really just an upgrade on the whole system. And it really feels like the platform, the Emblem AI platform, has really hit like a breaking point where our internal progress has been extremely vast and really, really high quality and quick. But also the general models themselves that are powering our technology are advancing so quickly. So I think we're finally at the stage where over the next couple of months, it'll feel like a platform of super intelligence in my mind. The models already exist. If we could get a 30% speed boost, which I think that we can get over the next 3 months, this platform is going to really like rock everyone off. And so I'm just really looking forward to more advancements on the general model side, but still every day we improve what we have internally. And, at the back end of this migration, you're going to see a bunch of new features being rolled out to the Emblem AI platform. The best way to think about it is that there's just nothing that we can't add to the platform. It's a full ecosystem. It's not a one feature product. We can take the best features from any other platform and add them straight into Emblem AI almost instantly at this point. So the moat is going to continue to grow. The progress that we have, the lead that we have on everyone else in the industry is only going to continue to grow. So, the build out is going phenomenal. And then on the back of the migration and everything else, that's kind of where things start to really get fun because we roll out all the new features and we supercharge growth. So, getting this product in the hands of many, many, many more people is the goal over the next 3 months. And I think everyone's going to be blown away.
I agree as well. Man, market's really surging on this Iranian president saying that they want to end the war, but I need some guarantees. So let's hope that is something that's putting the market at ease, and so we can just continue building and adding some speculation back to the market. Do you want to tease out any of the features that you've been building? There's actually quite a lot, and then also maybe cover a little bit on what Emblem Build may present.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like the features, I think that everyone will kind of see them roll out. Obviously, we're going to have like new onboarding. We're going to have a bunch of just new features that will just allow you to succeed in the on-chain world. That's really the goal. When I think of what do I need to succeed in the on-chain world, people are here to make money. People are here to do research. People are here to educate themselves. And that's something that you can do. You can do all of those under the Emblem AI platform very, very seamlessly, all natural language, text to transact, text to execute. So, I mean, we're convinced that this is the way that the majority of the world is going to interact with the on-chain world. And we're just really breaking down the barriers so that everyone can get involved. It's very seamless to access. It's very seamless to use. And so just plan on a bunch of features, making everything accessible in the on-chain world and everything just very, very simple and easy to understand. So crypto was always complicated, and we're taking it as our approach to really break down those barriers and make it extremely simple. And then on the back of that, we have Emblem Build, which is the craziest new thing from Shannon Code, our founder. He's been working on this for months, but it's really the culmination of the things that he's been building for over the past decade. And so, I always say we kind of have 3 separate groups. We have the agents that will interact with Emblem AI. We have the speculators, which is the traders, the collectors, things of that nature that will interact with Emblem AI. And then now we have the builders. So people that are interested in building apps, people that are interested in joining kind of the founder side or the startup side. And so you can think of it as maybe like a Lovable or a Replit or something of that nature, but specific to Web3 products, which is super important because in our industry, it's a lot different to build a Web3 product than it is to build a Web2 product. And so starting with a native Web3 builder, I think is a huge advantage. And just once you use the platform, you're going to see how powerful it is. But this is a huge step, not only just for us as a company, but to really fully encompass the entire target audience that exists out there between agents, builders, and speculators. So it's something to really look forward to.
You could call it almost like, maybe even we should just rename it to Emblem code, right? Like Claude code, but then like Shannon code. Right? So maybe we should even rename it after our founder. But it's really that. I saw Shannon built a market maker bot that was successful. The last few days, I built a trading perps app. Chris even built a PFP generator, right? So it doesn't even have to be crypto kind of centric if you don't want to. I don't really think there's anything like this on the market, at least from what I've looked and seen. There's a few vibe code platforms where you lay the smart contract down first, right? So it's like you want to build like an NFT marketplace or things like that. Ours is a little bit more consumer focused, where you're building a web application with crypto components to it. And the crypto components don't have to be just smart contracts, right? Because our Emblem, you have a vault. So that's the wallet in it. But with a vault, you could do all kinds of things. You could do ICOs, you could do token gating, you could do payments, right? You could do a lot of things with that. And then we have our sign-in system, right? So sign into your application with Twitter, which then creates a wallet for your application. Honestly, you could even use it to add a wallet to your existing website. Like if you just sell art on your website, or you have an Etsy website or anything like that, you can really come in and do that. And then we have some other components to it that some other AI companies are pursuing, which we think is pretty attractive. And I think that our community will like it as well. It's something we've been thinking about. It's kind of the next step in, I guess you would say, our company's evolution in terms of competing with, I guess, the most profitable companies in the industry. But for us, it's more about leveraging partnerships rather than going out and competing against them. So we are in some conversations with a lot of the major companies on Solana, obviously, because Migrate Fund is that introduction there. Some people see Migrate Fund as antagonistic and don't want to work with us. And then the other ones see it as mutually beneficial to everybody, as long as you could kind of find, the right deal and partnership, which is always something that we've always wanted to do. So Emblem build's going to be dope. That'll come out probably later this month as well, after the migration, as well as a few things, and start focusing on marketing. Because it does feel like with crypto and the new algorithm on Twitter, I don't think most companies are really marketing to crypto natives anymore. I think you're marketing to just the rest of the world in general. And you don't even have to lead with like a crypto kind of focus, because the younger generation, Gen Z and Gen Alpha, to them, crypto is just normal, right? It's been around, like crypto's been around for more than most of their life, or half of their life at that point. Like I think the oldest Gen Z is like 29 years old or 30 years old. So crypto's been around for more than half of their life. So it's not even like a pitch of, is crypto going to be here for the future? For them, it's how do they leverage crypto, right? Or just the financial rails in general, for whatever kind of product that they're doing.
Yeah. And I mean, crypto and AI is just really the biggest target audience that you can ask for. Everyone that approaches crypto knows it's rough around the edges, knows that it's difficult to understand. It's extremely complex. And with Emblem AI, you have a 180 plus IQ sidekick in your pocket that's available 24/7 instantly that can respond as quickly as you can type to it. So, I saw Harvey, which is like basically a ChatGPT for legal, the law industry. And, they raised $200 million at an $11 billion valuation. And so that's just like one application that's trying to disrupt the legal industry. But it's much easier for someone like Claude or ChatGPT to offer legal advice or legal expertise, because it's all just document based. But with crypto, you have to have execution based. There's actual technology that has to be built to interact with the on-chain world. So the build out is actually much more dynamic. It's much more challenging, and it's just much more ahead of its time. So the crypto industry has so much room to grow. The AI industry has so much room to grow. And just to be positioned where we are at this point in time in March of 2026 is truly insane. So, I think earlier we kind of talked about meme scope Monday and how it was kind of a flop, and people aren't really looking for these kind of quick flips because they know that the industry just is kind of past that, right? It's a losing game. But then what comes next? I think kind of these communities really start to come back a little bit, where you don't have really the rug risk, and you're trying to bet on actual innovation, and kind of like the holding culture might actually come back a little bit. So I think that people really like to feel like they're investing in top tier technology. I think that they like to find the next best thing, and I don't think that there is a next best thing that's bigger than crypto and AI. And I think Emblem AI is perfectly positioned for that kind of catalyst.
Well, until we're all robots, right? And robotics and biotech, where I have a bionic arm.
But they got to use it too, right? They got to transact on chain too. So we're definitely building for that world.
I guess that is true. I saw that Brian Armstrong, the founder of Coinbase and CEO, has his own anti-aging or prolonged life company. Do you see that? And he said that there's a 50% chance that we're at replacement aging levels, which basically says that for every year that you live, there's going to be some sort of technology that comes out and helps basically reduce that back down to a youthful iteration of whatever it is, between it's like your hormones, your testosterone, or your cellular biology for aging and such like that. Do you think we're going to make it to live forever?
I don't know about forever, but I definitely think that we're at the stage where I'm going to live till 120, 130 actively, not going to be kind of like in a really aged out, like something you would picture your grandfather to be, or your great grandfather to be at this stage. At 120 years old, I think that we'll probably be in this middle aged kind of active lifestyle for a very long time. And so I don't think that we've totally cracked the code, but I think that there's a good chance that living till 80 is kind of a thing to the past, and living till 100, 120, 130 is kind of the norm for people that have access and kind of have like finances to kind of propel themselves to that kind of future.
Oh man, nobody best suit for that future than Las Vegas, where people are just going to party until their 80s and 90s. It literally feels like that. That's I hope so, because I've always been talking about living forever, and I would totally like to do that. Obviously, there comes with like love and loss and things of that nature, but we'll see. And crypto will be here. Is there anything else in the market that's caught your attention over the last week or so? I mean, I've been scrolling and looking. It's really mostly just AI, people still toying around with AI agents. I really don't think they've really cracked the code yet on trading agents, right? I think everyone's still kind of trying to figure it out. But is there anything that's caught your eye recently in the crypto space?
I've been kind of just heads down, to be honest. I haven't really been paying attention to the market. It's been slow, but it's hard for me I put out a tweet the other day. There's just been a few times in my life where I could see the vision so clearly that, something is going to disrupt the world in such a big way. And, when I got into Bitcoin and Ethereum in 2016, like that's like all that I could think about. I couldn't think about anything else every day for that period of time. And then the first time I used Solana in 2020, I was like, oh, dude, this is like, you knew me back then. I was a freak about it. I couldn't stop talking about it. It was just like such a different and better way to interact on chain. Once you send that first Solana transaction, and it actually is instant settlement for a peer-to-peer network, was totally insane. And now it's just like crypto AI. It's just so obvious to me that this is the way that humans are going to interact on chain. It's so obvious that AI is going to kind of fully encompass every single industry that we see out there. And it's literally just the perfect fit for crypto, because what blockchains are inherently are just data mines. It's just infinite data that are kind of stored in these files and in these public ledgers. And what is AI good at? It's very good at doing deep dives on infinite amounts of data and processing it in real time instantly. So it's really a match made in heaven. And just like the potential of the two industries combined, it's definitely not 1 + 1 = 2. It's definitely 1 + 1 = more of like an 11 situation, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, I use our engineering team as examples where they'll see with Emblem build, but like for example, Shannon, who's orchestrating 15 agents at the same time, basically building, and you can live watch what the agents are doing on this task list, and you just go to this task list and it just keeps completing. I saw like the Claude team says that they don't even code anymore. It's just managing the code, right? Obviously there's the code is still rifled with errors. There's still a lot of bugs and stuff that you have to come in and have some knowledge to do, but the majority of it is the agents putting 95% of it down on the board, and then you come in and basically have to check and verify that it's all done right and to figure out what any type of small error is there. But once that orchestration layer becomes normalized, I think about a lot of how that impacts retail traders. And so right now it's coding, right? And we tried to go down the trading route. Obviously, building is the far more of interest across all industries. But once people are good with orchestration and you can manage 15 agents at the same time, how do you think that impacts the trading world on chain? Do you think that these agents can make money for people, or is it just more of the better traders you essentially get the middle class hollowed out for trader experience because the better traders just become 1000x traders?
I think it's a little of that, but I think that the market is just like always going to be dynamic. You're going to have these agents that are purpose built to throw other agents off, or to kind of act kind of maliciously in their actions towards other agents. And so like there's never going to be like one single defined edge that will win all the time. And so it's just always evolving. And whether you're a human or you're an agent and you're trading in these active markets, there's always going to be some sort of edge to exploit. Whether, the question is how long does it last, but it's always changing. It's always evolving. And so I don't think that there ever is like a singularity in markets where it's just a solved game, because there's so many dynamic pieces, whether it's a conflict breaks out in the Middle East, or, these agents are just betting on sports, but then they were kind of tricked maliciously on some random insider info that ended up being wrong because they were fed by the different kind of agents that were taking the other side. And so there's always just a ton of information out there. And sometimes too much information is bad information, right? Because you don't know where the actual signal is. So I just think that markets are just extremely dynamic, and it's never going to be a solved game. So whether you're a human or an agent, I think there's always going to be ways to make money. Do I think that there is agents that are going to be able to make money? For sure. But do I think that that means that humans are not able to make money? I definitely don't think that that's the case.
Do you think there's a likelihood that crypto natives end up abandoning trading and become more like builders, right? If you can vibe code these applications pretty quickly and tokenize them, right, with launch pads or some sort of business application like Bedrock, do you think it's possible that the industry just moves to something more sustainable than trading?
Honestly, just no. I mean, I think that AI is perfect for high agency people that want to build things, but I don't think most people care to build things or want to build things or have the will to build most things. Most people, like, you can look at content creation. Everybody has the ability to be a content creator. It doesn't take much work in today's age. But most people, 99% of people, are just content consumers. Even though they can be creators, they just choose not to for whatever reason. You can make yourself seem interesting on the internet. You can go and start a faceless TikTok account or whatever it might be and not even show your personality. But most people just choose not to. So I think it's going to be the same thing with building, where like another power law where 80% of the builds are going to be built out by 20% of the people, and they're going to be used by the other 80%.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
it always does.
It always does, every single time. Same with intelligence and dating and everything of that nature. So,
what do you think?
I mean, it's something I think about a lot. Is you look at, even you just use our community as an example, or even just you really can point back to the meme scope thing, right? The meme scope, the meme coin traders are gone, right? So you have Gen Z. What is Gen Z kind of looking towards now? You look at the startups or the launch pads, right? Meteora and Pump Fund have essentially become startup incubators, right? So their focus is, hey, Gen Z is now pivoting to be builders of some nature, right? Or they can at least inspire Gen Z to do that. Radium and Bonk are still doubling down on meme coins. So they're going to essentially what Solana builders are saying, or at least the dominant platforms are basically saying that the majority of Gen Z is going to move to building. And so maybe that's where the speculation is. While Bonk Fund and Radium will just focus on meme coins, I suppose. But then you look at the broader sense. And you know me, I like to look at blockchains kind of by age groups and demographics, right? Base is very focused on agents now, right? Because it's more like an institution, kind of commercialized chain in a sense. Um, I mean, the Emblem community is a bunch of holders in general. Have been holding for right years or decade at this point. And I do think that the holder mentality is coming back because there's going to be more things to do. If you could do things with your tokens, right, or have the belief with the community, then I do think people will just buy and hold. I mean, I've had a lot of different conversations with community members over the last few months of just people asking about the Emblem token and like how to spread the message to their community and really start to try to build that from the ground up. Kind of reminds me a lot of like the NFT era. It seems like we're going back into, but for tokens this time, for agents and building business building and such. But the high frequency trader for crypto natives, I think is somewhat gone, and a lot of the speculators made money and left, or now they're all broke, right? So they have to kind of play whatever the new game is. Whether the crypto natives want to play that new game or not, I think is a big question, right? Agents are obviously the new game. You have a lot of people who have been in crypto for a long time, but they don't want to have to learn again the new thing, right? You see this kind of happen every cycle where in 2017, everyone was playing the ICO game. And then in 2019, 2020 moved over to DeFi. But there was actually a lot of people who didn't want to learn about DeFi, right? Because it was like some sort of technical hurdle. The real separation to me actually is going from DeFi to NFTs, because that was like a cultural difference, right? Like NFTs are pretty simple to understand, much more simple to understand than DeFi was. But with NFTs, it had a huge social influence to it, right? There was KOLs and influencers and celebrities and community and all of that nature. But there was a large part of the DeFi community and Bitcoiners who did not want to play that game, right? Because they're socially against playing the celebrity status game or whatever it is. Right. And then a lot of the NFT people didn't want to go play the meme coin game for whatever the reason was, right? And just wrote them off. And now a lot of the meme coin people don't want to go play the agent game, right? And all those people who just chose not to play whatever the new game was simply just by participation, they're so far out on like the educational curve, like they'll never catch up because they barely know how to use a Solana wallet, right? Like let alone trying to figure out agents and things of that nature. So this is kind of where you have to just focus on where, this is why I say you just have to build where Gen Z and Gen Alpha is, because unfortunately, if you're a millennial or Gen X at this stage and you haven't been participating in all the new games, like you're cooked. Like there's no way.
Yeah, but people will always kind of like find a way if there's money to be made, you know, and price really drives narrative. And so, no one wants to figure out DeFi until the price starts moving. No one wants to figure out NFTs until the price starts moving. No one cared about ICOs until people saw other people making thousand X's on chain. And so whatever the next narrative will kind of be the same. And you can see these narratives develop. No one develops them better than Wall Street. And you can see it in like the quantum narrative that's going on right now that might crack Bitcoin tomorrow. But like, is that like a narrative to sell Ethereum? Is that a narrative to shake people out of Bitcoin so that the institutions can buy it for cheaper? Like, what is the point behind the narrative? But price will always kind of drive the next boom and bust cycle. But I don't think that there is an easier narrative to understand than super intelligence and the agentic economy. Like that, to me, it doesn't matter if you're a 40 IQ caveman or 120 IQ super genius. Like that makes sense. That's obviously going to be the future. And so bringing that on chain, I just don't see how that's not the biggest opportunity that we've seen so far.
So how do you trade it? If you weren't a builder and you're looking at it from a trader perspective, how would you evaluate the agentic economy on chain, and what would you be looking for from a trader perspective?
I mean, yeah, I would just be looking at some of these big builders that are early. You look at who was pioneering the industry, and you look for real technology that's able to possibly have a small chance at changing the world. And so you have some of these early AI builders, whether they're something like us with Emblem AI, we really kind of pioneered the whole crypto AI terminal experience, and we're kind of pioneering the agent wallet experience. And then you see some of these, that's from the crypto side. And then if you go over to like Base, you see some of these people that are kind of pioneering more of the AI side and kind of involving crypto in a different way. So we're going crypto to AI, and some of these AI builders are going AI to crypto, but we're meeting in the same place. And so these early builders is what you want to get exposure to, because it's going to get very fuzzy out there and it's going to get very foggy. And there's going to be a lot of LARPs that come in and act like they've been in AI forever. But you want to look for early substance and early traction and kind of ride those for the whole wave. And, you're kind of at the stage where you're early enough where you can see where there's actual signal throughout all the noise.
Yeah, it's true. And then you have Base and Solana. What about Hyperliquid? Do you think Hyperliquid's been crowned as basically just the financial chain? It's the fourth anointed one, I guess you would say, right? Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, Hyperliquid.
Yeah, but like I said last week or 2 weeks ago, you never know with these things. But we're at the stage where the crypto economy is maturing to the point where you see Base integrating Hyperliquid. You might see us integrate Hyperliquid. You might see all these other platforms like I think Phantom integrated Hyperliquid for their purpose, right? So at some point you kind of hit critical mass where you're embedded in all the biggest crypto infrastructure players, that you actually are one of the biggest winners. So I think that Hype is a great product. And like I said before, they've almost diversified their users to the point where they're more their commodities volume, oil, gold, silver, etc., out trades their crypto volume, which is extremely crazy to think about. But just goes to show that there's so much growth ahead for the industry, because all these traditional players want exposure to these assets on the weekends, on the nights and weekends, where they can't get it in traditional markets. And so we're bringing all these other players on chain. So crypto is very small, but it's about to get very big.
Yeah, I agree as well. I'm looking through the market to see if there's any type of interesting things going on outside of the war. And I don't know if you saw this the other day. There was a crypto builder who broke out into the mainstream recently. His name's Dada, and he was the creator of the Wizard. What was it? Wizard Guild, something of that nature. He created something called Paperclip, and I'm starting to see this happen kind of often now, where a crypto builder comes in and they build some sort of AI product, and then that AI product ends up taking off very much outside of the crypto industry. And I'd say the first kind of guy like that was I forget what the influencer's name was. People used to hate him, and then he went to AI, and now he's like super popular. But I do think you'll see a lot more instances like this. Like I could totally see Shannon doing something like this, where he just builds some sort of AI tool that ends up just becoming extremely popular. So Paperclip, it's an orchestration layer for zero human companies. So it allows you to run businesses. And Shannon had said I guess you guys will kind of see with Emblem built something actually quite similar. But I think this just completely points towards what we were talking about, where there's no better matrimony between crypto and AI. And it's not even just the technology. I think it's the internet nativeness of understanding how open source tooling works, understanding how to present the product and use the content, offer incentives, create speculation. And that's something that I just don't think a lot of people in the entire world have that blend. And that's why crypto people are doing so well in AI. And it's actually much better than the reverse with the AI people coming into crypto. I mean, through the whole banker OpenClaw kind of situation that happened a few months ago, that explosion, I think there's like 3 AI builders left that were like traditional AI guys coming into crypto. And then we saw that obviously with Project 89. A lot of these guys during the meme coin frenzy, right, get the token launched on their behalf and just get completely shellacked by the crypto culture, right? Because it's very aggressive and abusive at times. But it just seems like the crypto natives have no issue moving into AI and actually finding a lot of success, whether it's through their product, through their content, or through just engagement baiting.
Yeah, and I mean, like if you're an AI builder and you're new to the crypto industry, or you're a crypto user and you're new to the AI industry, it's such a competitive advantage because these big general models like OpenAI or Claude, they're not touching crypto at all. So that's an entire industry of very young demographic, internet native people that have high disposable income compared to the rest of the world, that spend most of their money online. So you're able to kind of check these boxes of basically the best users you can ever want to access, and nobody else is even going to touch them. And so not only are they just heavily community based and ideologically based, but they're also hugely based in speculation, and they're willing to try new things. And so many of those attributes are extremely difficult to find in the real world. But here in crypto, we have this huge like offset of humanity that actually checks all those boxes. So just leveraging the crypto community to build an AI is such an advantage for teams like ours, because none of these general models, these hyperscalers, are going to touch the industry for years at this point, probably.
The hyperscaler. So Dosido says, is the AI answer in the cloud or local? It's a big question, right? It seems like obviously right now the cloud, right? All the model companies who are spending bajillion dollars on it. Open cloud is really the first kind of canary in the coal mine for localized AI, and that seems to be continuing to grow. But I'm just more under the opinion that people generally want convenience, and convenience is always going to be the cloud. And you see this with Claude. Claude now has Claude Computer and Claude Cowork, which is essentially their own instance of OpenClaw. And it's not to the degree that OpenClaw is in terms of its capabilities, but eventually it'll get there. It'll definitely be more expensive, but unless Apple could come in somehow and create some sort of like local AI that's pushed through all of the phones and distribution, to me it's cloud. I don't know. What do you think, Chris?
I definitely think it's just like a hybrid of both. I think all your personal information is stored on your local agents, and they're going to interact with agents in the cloud for any kind of high performance compute that they need. And I don't think that it's like a winner take all. I think it's just a hybrid of both. Anything, if you want to do anything of substance, you're going to need a ton of compute, and local models are just not at the stage that they need to be, and they probably won't be for a very long time. But what they can do is store all your personal data. They can store all of your information, all of your preferences, and they can interact with models in the cloud while still protecting your personal data. So I would definitely say it's more of a hybrid than just choosing a winner there.
Fuck yeah. Hybrid to the cloud. Agents are taking over. Hyperliquid's been dominating the traditional finance world. It's really with crypto. I just think about robotics a lot, although I don't really know how that all intersects together. That seems to be like a big narrative at some point in the near future, or biotech, kind of in some capacity. But it does feel like we're getting close to the singularity, which is going to be here in the near future. All we need is just the alien report to come out, and so we know for sure what's out there.
Right. It is just interesting, like how early everyone is. Like, and I don't mean to like I'm not the guy that says early. I'm the guy that makes fun of people that says that crypto is the only industry that you can be in for 15 years and still be early. But like with AI, you actually are completely early to like the next generation of computing, personal computing, and just kind of building, right? I mean, you're on X all day, you're in crypto every day, and even like your timeline might be filled with AI, but only like 1% of those people are doing anything with AI. What do you think the percentage of people outside of that bubble are doing with AI? They have no idea. Most of my friends, I'm trying to get them to use Claude for the first time. They like have just used ChatGPT, and they're like, oh, I can ask it questions like Google or something like that. But 98% of the world has no idea what to do with AI. So truly, this is like the next kind of industrial level revolution type of kind of explosion, Cambrian explosion, that's going to hit all the markets. But anyone that's building, actually using AI to supercharge their performance and growth, I mean, you are so early.
Yeah, I'm down here in Mexico, and the locals obviously are using it, but I've been talking with a lot of I should say like Americanized Mexicans who speak English and are entrepreneurial and stuff, and they do not use AI in any capacity either, like
Yeah,
at all,
and that's
because you don't
90%
need to.
of the world. Like most people, we're digitally native. We live online. We use everything that has to do with the internet. Most people are not like that. They have jobs in offices or they work, maybe outside or wherever it is, but they're not just inherently online using these tools every day. So it's annoying to be like you're early, but this is an industry that you actually are so early in.
So early. Dosido says, is the company tapped into the AI Chinese market? If so, where are they in their AI development? So you have Kimi, which was doing pretty good for a while. It seems to be the one that's furthest ahead. There's Quen, which is the Alibaba AI, and I think there might be one more. Is there one more?
Those are the two biggest models, but they're just kind of like open source ripoffs of Claude. Basically, it was just like leaked Claude code that they kind of packaged and outsourced to the world. But China does what China always does. They replicate very well. They're not huge innovators. They are good copiers. So not saying that they can't make any advances. It's just that the US models are so far ahead of anything anywhere else in the world. It's not even close. And it's crazy because the world is so big, 196 countries all over, but it's really the US that's leading all of them. And so how powerful is it going to be to have Spain, the UK, Southeast Asia, all these countries using Cloud Code, using ChatGPT, using Gemini, whatever it is? I mean, no one's using these Chinese models like that.
One of the most interesting things I saw, speaking of like kind of globalization, on X recently, there was a somewhat of a interesting romance between America and Japan through this new feature
Yeah.
that through this new, I guess you would say, push or feature that X started doing, where they're using AI to basically auto translate posts in a different language to your native language, and start recommending content that's similar in your field, right? Because we talk about crypto, but there's people talking about crypto in most of the other countries in some capacity that may be interesting. So I kind of quote tweeted and I said that it was globalization through natural language, which I thought was kind of interesting. And over the last, I guess you would say the previous world order, because the new world order is coming, over the last 80 years, the world tried to do globalization through financialization, right? Through interlinking all of the economies. That's breaking down now, obviously. And so I guess you have to try to link the world again in a different way. And I don't know, when X pushed that, I was like, that's the new globalization, is through attention. And if everyone could communicate on the same through the same language, or at least translate it automatically. Like if I go walk around here in Mexico and I have to speak Spanish, but then it's just whatever I say in English is just automatically translated to Spanish, and they understand. Like that brings, I think that increases productivity by magnitudes.
Yeah, it's really the difference between a top-down approach and a bottoms-up approach, right? Being led by institutions or being led by the people, and letting the people actually have dialogue and discourse and talk about ideas and habits and what they love and what they hate, and be able to openly talk and understand each other is so much better than kind of globalization being pushed on you because we need to assimilate with each other, even though we have a ton of differences, or maybe we don't. But yeah, I think that just the impact that X is going to have on the world just continues to like blow me away every single day. Where not only did it kind of have such a huge impact in like kind of advancing and saving free speech in the West, but like now it's breaking down these roadblocks that were in between totally separate cultures that we've kind of never seen before. So you're able to see people interacting with the Japanese community that never would have had the opportunity to before in ways that they've never seen before. And this is totally kind of a special moment in kind of world and global history.
Yeah, I think that feature is going to be a gigantic one. I think it's going to have a big impact on the world as long as it could be pushed forward. I think about this a lot with X, because SpaceX acquired X, and then SpaceX will eventually acquire Tesla at some point in the future. But I think X was eventually going to be like your intergalactic passport, or your profile, right? If SpaceX is going to have a base on the moon, and then they're going to eventually colonize Mars and all these other areas, your X profile is going to be the thing that you use to network with everyone within the X community. So your X profile, I think, is just going to, and just become more important over time. And some of the other social media companies, I think, might want to be a little terrified if X can push their social media app outside of the world, outside of Earth, and then everyone else is just domained to Earth. Like it's a little terrifying for some of these companies.
Yeah, the world just continues to get smaller, right? And you're breaking down these huge barriers between cultures and language that have never been broken down before. You know, you think of like every movie that you see is based in the US, but there's movies from China, there's movies from Japan, there's movies from England and London that you'll just never see. And so there's so many opportunities to kind of cross-pollinate between culture that were kind of always obstructed by language. And now we're kind of breaking that down in real time. So it's going to be crazy what happens next.
Yes. Somebody in our group chat said, will Emblem consider an appearance at NFC Summit in Lisbon? No, will not be there, unfortunately. I want to try to make it out to a conference. We will be at Bitcoin Vegas. So if whoever's at Bitcoin Vegas, come hang out. It'll be a good time. I think most of the team will be there. There's like a Pepe party that's going to be lit that I'm excited to go to. And then considering going to Marfa down in Texas for an NFT thing, trying to do something different. I've done ETH Denver like 3 times. I've done NFT NYC 3 times. I've done Bitcoin Vegas, obviously, is right there. I've done Miami a few times. I think it's time to do something a little bit different. I think with that, we'll wrap it up today. Pretty easy episode. Glad to see the markets coming back, although I wouldn't be surprised if everything just completely just rejects at the top and comes back down. Yeah, Verdani, we're going to come hang out with you in Marfa. I would not be surprised if Bitcoin's back to like 65K or whatever it is, because the wrong person said that they wanted the war to end, right? Because everyone is so decapitated. But we'll see. We'll be back on Thursday, a full show. Everyone, I'll be back at home. Adam's gonna be back at home. We'll be back on the Spaces. And we should have a jolly good old time. Until then, everyone have a fun and safe Tuesday. And remember to consolidate your hustle so that you can migrate it next week.
Get ready for